No, I choose people who don't want to be written about on the whole, whose lives are shrouded in mystery and they want to hide their secrets. And I just love the king has been far too lenient with him. And that it's not just now this sex case.
The internet barely had a second to breathe before chaos hit again. When Tom Bower, the man tabloids call Britain's most feared biographer, returned, he didn't just drop another revelation, he unleashed an explosion that sent shockwaves straight through royal territory. This time, the blast zone included two of the most talked about names in the monarchy's shadow, Meghan Markle and Prince Andrew. It started quietly, almost too quietly. Just a tiny teaser clip.
That there are two truths. The first truth is that the conversation, I'm told and I believe, was very early on in their relationship when Harry is bowled over.
30 seconds long, no context, no title. The screen faded in to show Tom Bower, leaning back with that signature calm that only shows up before he detonates something major. Fingers steepled, eyes sharp, that sly glint flashing like he already knew the storm he was about to cause. Then came the line, the one that cracked the internet in half. People would be shocked to learn how closely intertwined certain royal figures truly were, and who benefited. That was it. No names, no follow-up. Just pure mystery, enough to send the entire media world spinning into chaos. Newsrooms went into meltdown, editors scrambling to decode the hint, while royal bloggers went into full investigative overdrive. Within minutes, hashtags were trending worldwide before the clip even ended, and right at the center of the digital inferno, two names kept colliding again and again, Meghan Markle and Prince Andrew. Two royals from completely different worlds suddenly being linked together had everyone's heads spinning. What was Bower suggesting? What secret thread was tying them together? And why now? Theories erupted like fireworks. Some swore it was a secret rivalry. Others whispered about royal money games or buried palace politics. But one theory burned brighter than all the rest.
Well, yes, it is a bad look, especially for Prince Andrew, because he has always denied having any sort of sexual contact with Epstein's girls.
That Tom Bower was ready to expose a shocking, behind-the-scenes chapter of royal chaos connecting Meghan and Andrew in ways no one ever imagined. The palace had allegedly buried this story deep under layers of silence, but the moment Tom Bower spoke, that silence cracked wide open. As the world demanded answers, Bower gave none, and that silence made the suspense explode even louder. By sunrise, the clip had taken over TikTok, X, and every royal gossip forum on the planet. The short teaser had been reposted more than 5 million times, flooding timelines with wild theories and hot takes. Reaction videos blew up overnight. Even US late-night hosts joined the chaos, throwing jokes that only fanned the flames. But inside the palace walls, it was no laughing matter. According to insiders, the royal household snapped into quiet crisis mode within minutes. Tense briefings, emergency calls, whispers echoing through marble corridors. One royal aide allegedly murmured, "Anytime Bower speaks, people listen, and the palace prepares for impact." Still, no one expected how quickly that impact would turn explosive. Just 2 hours after the teaser went viral, Bower made his next move.
The world about his relationship, and there was no compulsion for him to do it. And that not only
a live broadcast featuring an extended excerpt from his upcoming project. No names again, but this time, there was one sentence that sent chills through every newsroom in London. It is astonishing how events thought to be disconnected were in truth shaped by the same hand. That was it. And instantly, the internet went nuclear. Commentators dissected every single word like it was royal code. Who was the same hand? What events was he connecting? And why did the timing feel so deliberate, hitting right as Meghan faced PR turbulence and Andrew was back under media fire? Meghan's critics swore the jab was aimed at her. Andrew's defenders said it screamed of his scandals. But for everyone else, it was obvious. Bower was hinting at a bombshell that tied both of them together. And when insiders claimed Meghan's team was furious, scrambling behind the scenes to find out what was coming next, the frenzy reached full meltdown.
I was shocked at just how thin-skinned Harry is. You know, Meghan I almost understood. She's a Hollywood B-list to be charitable actress. She was a social climber. Her whole thing is about image, so I can see why she's so easy to upset.
According to one PR insider, Meghan's team went into full panic mode. Phones ringing non-stop, staff calling anyone who might know anything. The mood was pure chaos, fueled by one thing, fear of what was coming next. Meanwhile, over at Prince Andrew's camp, there was a different kind of panic. Total silence. And in royal circles, silence is never peace. It's the sound of walls starting to tremble. As the speculation spun out of control, journalists began tearing through old archives, cross-referencing events, and hunting for anything that could possibly link the two most controversial names in modern royal history. Some found charity events where their paths might have crossed. Others dug up long-buried palace memos that hinted at quiet internal tension. But still, nothing solid. Nothing that explained the heavy, almost threatening tone behind Tom Bower's cryptic words. Then came the first leak. A whistleblower from inside a production studio dropped a claim that set the internet on fire. Bower's upcoming project would shock both American and British audiences and reveal connections no one even knew existed. That single rumor spread faster than royal gossip ever had.
I do, and I think it has divided the nation and made us all, many of us, very unhappy on either side of the argument. I just found that Harry and Meghan, having said that they were setting up in California to spread wellness and love and sincerity, have done the exact opposite. They have dumped.
Suddenly, every outlet had a headline, every commentator had a theory, and every YouTuber had a 20-minute breakdown ready to post. Back in Montecito, sources said Meghan was pacing, her phone lighting up non-stop, lawyers on standby, PR advisors scrambling. She feels targeted, one insider revealed. She believes Bower is obsessed with her. And this confirmed it. Meanwhile, at Royal Lodge, Prince Andrew's retreat, the atmosphere was reportedly grim. Staff whispered that he'd been warned the story could reopen wounds everyone hoped were long closed. Yet nothing, absolutely nothing, could have prepared them for what came next. After watching the hysteria reach global levels, Tom Bower finally broke his silence. And this time, he didn't hide behind mystery. In a new interview clip uploaded online, he leaned forward, looked straight into the camera, and dropped a line that sent shockwaves through the entire royal world. "This is the chapter the palace hoped I would never write." The world gasped. Comment sections erupted like volcanoes. News anchors interrupted broadcasts mid-sentence. In that instant, the question wasn't if Meghan and Andrew were about to face a storm. It was how massive it would be, how long it would rage, and who would come out more bruised.
A series dedicated to dissecting the most riveting royal scandals in history. This week, I'm joined by Tom Bower, author of Revenge, Meghan, Harry, and the War Between the Windsors, the defining book on Meghan Markle's.
Because whatever Bower had found, it was big. And the palace knew one terrifying truth. The storm had already started. Tom Bower never teases lightly. When he speaks, the world braces. And this time, what he unleashed wasn't just big, it was seismic. Two of the most controversial figures in modern royal history stood dead center in the blast zone, and the tremors could be felt all the way from Windsor to Montecito. The reaction to Bower's latest revelation was instant, electric, and impossible to ignore. Within minutes of the interview hitting the airwaves, the internet went into total meltdown. Commentators refreshed their feeds in disbelief as clips rocketed across every social platform faster than any palace aide could prepare for. And while the outrage exploded publicly, something darker buzzed beneath the surface. Fear. Not because Bower had revealed any crimes, but because he'd hit a nerve the monarchy had been desperate to protect for years. His statements weren't direct accusations. They were calculated interpretations, woven with precision by a man who's spent decades dissecting the myths of the powerful. And now, those sharp insights were slicing straight into two of the most polarizing names in royal memory.
Seemed to be a stereotype. I think that would now not occur. I think there were various things about her sexual life which I dropped out on the grounds of privacy laws in Britain.
Sources close to Buckingham Palace insist the institution wasn't caught off guard. They knew the book was coming. They knew the press tour would sting. But what they didn't expect was how fast the public would seize the most dramatic lines and twist them into something wild. What began as thoughtful commentary on media control, public perception, and the gravitational pull of scandal had morphed, within hours, into a social media circus. Wild theories, endless think pieces, heated debates, and YouTube breakdowns filled every corner of the internet. Meanwhile, back in Montecito, the atmosphere flipped from stunned silence to full-blown chaos. Insiders whispered that Meghan was pacing the room, furious, demanding to know how Bower had accessed certain private anecdotes, details she believed were locked down or buried under strict legal agreements. She was shocked, one source said. She thought those stories would never resurface. Harry, on the other hand, was reportedly devastated. Not shouting, just defeated. Caught between frustration and exhaustion, he watched yet another media storm surge toward their home and realized there was no stopping it this time. He knew the damage was done, an insider admitted, but that didn't make it any easier. Across the Atlantic, inside Andrew's camp, the reaction was no calmer. because everyone knew this was only the beginning of something much bigger. Even though Tom Bower's latest commentary focused on reputation, optics, and the lingering fallout from old decisions, not fresh accusations, it was more than enough to reopen wounds the palace had spent years trying to seal. Within minutes, staffers reportedly scrambled to lock down all internal communication lines. The royal family's signature response came fast: no comment.
The book and in the Oprah Winfrey interviews and by Harry in the Apple interviews can forgive him. I mean, he'd have to eat so much humble pie.
But this time, silence didn't calm the storm. It only made it louder. The damage was done. Royal experts jumped on the story like sharks in open water, dissecting every word Bower said with surgical precision. YouTube panels lit up instantly, live debates ran all night, and longtime commentators who never agreed on anything were suddenly speaking in unison. Everyone knew it. Tom Bower had found the pressure point. Whether people adored Meghan, despised Andrew, or were just plain tired of royal chaos, it didn't matter. Bower's analysis had tapped into something deeper, a dangerous crossroads between celebrity, monarchy, fame addiction, and public obsession. It wasn't just gossip anymore. It was psychology, image warfare, and generational pain all rolled into one spectacle. As the online frenzy hit fever pitch, something quieter but far more deliberate started behind the palace gates. Sources whispered about a tightening of ropes before the storm. Senior aides met behind closed doors, media teams revised statements, and advisors analyzed every detail: timing, tone, optics, always the optics. Because inside those walls, they know perception is power, and image can make or break everything. Bower hadn't revealed any new wrongdoing, but perception was rewriting reality in real time. Online, speculation caught fire again. Some predicted Meghan would clap back with a bold counter-story. Others insisted she'd stay silent, letting her allies speak for her. And Andrew? Insiders debated whether he'd disappear even further into quiet retreat, or work the back channels to soften the fallout through royal intermediaries. Meanwhile, Bower himself was ice-cold and completely unshaken. In a follow-up TV spot, he didn't add new claims. He didn't have to. He just stared into the camera with that calm, almost smug composure that's made him infamous and said, "My work speaks for itself. If certain people don't like the reflection they see, that's not my problem." That line hit like a grenade. Within an hour, TikTok had replayed it thousands of times, and suddenly, the narrative shifted again. Commentators debated not what Bower said, but what he meant. And then, in a twist no one saw coming, a source in Montecito dropped a new bombshell.
Account of their experience.
I understand. Well, because I sift it through, I don't put in stuff which isn't true and can't be checked. And also, you know, I had some admiration for Meghan. She succeeded quite well in her life and her ambitions.
Meghan had begun drafting a personal response. Not a press release, not a legal letter, a message in her own words. And people could feel it coming. But this time, Meghan wasn't planning a legal counterattack. She was crafting something far more calculated, a carefully curated message designed to snatch back control of the story. According to insiders, she wanted to paint Bower's latest commentary as obsession, bias, and part of a long-running pattern, one where powerful women who challenged tradition were picked apart until they broke. She wants to flip it, the insider said, turn the spotlight right back on him. Whether that plan would actually work, though, was another question entirely. While her team argued over wording and timing, something far worse began to spread across the internet. Old receipts, resurfaced clips, forgotten interviews, and unearthed footage started flooding social feeds, all suddenly tied to the very themes Bower had raised. Overnight, everything Meghan and Andrew had ever said publicly was being replayed, dissected, and twisted through this new lens. Video editors pieced together viral montages. Podcasters dropped hour-long breakdowns. Royal Watcher accounts racked up millions of views, connecting dots that had never been connected before. Interpretation turned into theory. Theory became narrative, and narrative went viral, blurring truth and speculation until nobody could tell the difference anymore. Meanwhile, the palace response was textbook restraint. Not a word, not a whisper, not even a hint of denial. Pure royal discipline. The same old strategy: don't feed the flames. But this time, the fire was too big to starve out. Behind the scenes, tensions were rising fast. Rumors swirled that the relationship between the Sussex camp and the palace had hit breaking point. One advisor allegedly called the situation radioactive. Another claimed the monarchy was tired of being dragged into chaos they didn't start. Whether those whispers were true or just media noise didn't matter. The effect was the same. The speculation spiraled out of control. And through it all, Tom Bower stayed perfectly calm, maybe even amused. One editor who spoke with him after the broadcast said he was relaxed, sipping tea, not changing a single word. He knows this storm, the editor explained. He's lived through dozens. People forget he doesn't write for palace approval. He writes for the public record, and that's exactly what made him dangerous. Because unlike tabloids or trending hashtags, Bauer's work doesn't fade. It lives on bookshelves, in archives, in documentaries. It becomes part of the culture itself. And now that his latest revelations had gone nuclear, one thing was certain: this royal firestorm was only just beginning. If you made it this far, drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think Meghan's team can spin this in her favor, or is this one too far gone? Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more royal deep dives. This story's only heating up,